Hi guys, welcome to the Sphons CCW Live Show, brought to you by, of course, Sphons CCW, Minerva Sportsmans Club, this and that distribution.com. Got some stuff here for you tonight. We are still talking about doing a business spotlight at some point in time during the show, so if you know of somebody who's got a small business in the area or a small business anywhere, you know, have them get a hold of us, SphonsCCW@gmail, and you know, we'll get them set up and get them put on the show. We all like to learn about new things, so hopefully that'll you know, garner some interest for everybody. Our class schedule. What are we looking at? Have we got any spots in the 16th class?
We have one.
We have got
one spot in the 16th class.
One spot in the February 16th concealed carry class. The next one after that is
March 28th.
March 28th, and there's room in that one. We have a couple of spots left in the February 22nd, 23rd defensive pistol. Link in the description, guys, so if you want to get signed up for that. 5/16/17, if you want to get signed up for pistol instructor, then we got a pistol instructor class coming up. And then if you already have pistol instructor qualifications, on July 11th and 12th, we have a personal protection inside the home class that can be added to your pistol instructor certification. That's going to start you down teaching some defensive pistol stuff if you're a pistol instructor. So we got a lot of stuff that you can get signed up for. More stuff on the way. We're going to be adding more classes as things fill up. So yeah. Head to our website, SphonsCCW.com, and you can check it out.
If you want to further your, training after the concealed carry class, and wondering what to do next, get signed up for that 2-day defensive pistol class. That's a really good class, and you will learn a lot, and actually know how to use your handgun to defend yourself. So.
Yes. Once again, link in the description of the video, guys. Shooting events. February 8th, 7 p.m., King of the Clays. That's a new event. It's a single elimination clay event. Head over to either our Facebook page or the Minerva Sportsmans Club Facebook page and check out the event. If you're a clay shooter, if you like shooting clays, we're sponsoring a hunter rifle class down Tusco Valley Rifle Club. Their website has got the schedule up, so you can head to the Tusco Valley Rifle Club's website and check out the schedule of events for there. So, yeah, got a bunch of stuff coming up, some stuff that's going to be fun to do.
I know that Carrollton High School is actually putting on or doing some sort of sponsorship for Youth Trap League here, starting pretty quick too. So
yeah, the Youth Trap League is going to get kicked. I don't know whether they're shooting already or not.
I talked to a guy the other day, and he said it didn't start for a couple of weeks yet. So, but they may have changed that. So it would be interesting to see if Minerva starts one up. Been trying to get that going down here for a while, but
yeah, we'll check that out. Did you come up with a carry and shooting tip?
Yeah, bad weather training.
Go for it.
Of course, it is still winter. Rain, snow, sleet, ice, whatever you want to have, depending on which particular day you're going to the range. You still need to go to the range, you know, whether you go into an indoor range, it's a little more expensive, but you need to keep your training up to spec, so to speak, you know. It is a perishable skill, so you don't want to lose a bunch of ground on your training skills just because it's bad weather. If it's warm outside, you know, it doesn't hurt anything to get your handgun wet. You can always clean it. So you can go outside and shoot in the rain. As far as that goes, we've shot in the rain several times, and as long as you clean your gun, you know, when you're done, get the water off it, you won't hurt it a bit. Ammo will still go off and it'll still fly straight, just like it always does.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Yeah,
that's, you know, one of the things you want to practice, along with your, there's several things you can do indoors, you know, when the weather is really extreme, you know, draw stroke, as long as you do everything with a unloaded handgun. You know, you might get a little hot dressing up in your outside clothes trying to practice your draw stroke when, you know, in your outside clothes, but you need to know how to do that and be proficient at it before you actually go outside. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you can do inside, sight picture, sight alignment, draw stroke, you know, a little trick with putting the spent case on top of the slide with the case head up in the air.
Yeah, for your dry fire training.
Yeah, dry fire training. If it falls off, you're doing something wrong. If you can do it without making it fall off, then you're good to go. But a lot of stuff. So, carry tip. I would say the biggest one is in the winter is to practice with your outside clothes on, you know, while you're inside, you know, because it's not always going to be sunny and 70 when you may need your gun. And you know, we saw that a lot on a week or so ago with that church shooting video where people are trying to get their gun out and they can't get it around their clothes. Yeah. So you need to figure that out beforehand before you get into a situation where you really need to have it. So you only have seconds to spare. So
Gear's a big part of it.
Yeah. Right.
Carry position's a big part of it.
Sure.
Testing your stuff before you get outside. I don't know how many times I've bought a piece of gear or put a shirt on or done whatever and went, you know, this is just not going to work out. So,
right. You know, and yeah, we all have a tub full of holsters that, you know, work in some situations, don't work in others.
Yeah.
So
or multiple tubs full of holsters.
Yeah.
That you know, just don't, for whatever reason, you don't like them. They don't work. They don't fit your gun.
Yeah.
Something. There's just a ton of different things that go on that.
And with the weather changing every day, so pretty much, you know, cold yesterday, decent today. You're not going to want to wear a heavy winter coat today, whereas yesterday you would have. So you need to be proficient in either or both, you know, at the same time. So, you know, clothing and what you're carrying, your gear is a big part of winter. And, you know, your gun will normally always fire. If you got one you're not sure about, take it out in the cold and shoot it. See if it malfunctions, you know. And
yeah, there's a ton of different times when we, you know, are out on the range or teaching a class or something like that, and folks find out that, you know, something as simple as the gun oil that they're using doesn't work in cold weather. I mean, I don't have a super, like, you must use this gun oil or this is the greatest stuff in the world, but, you know, I found gun oils that were too heavy for, you know, winter use, depending upon the temperature. I mean,
yeah, you know,
a lot of times
if it's 0 outside, it's hard to say whether any gun is going to work, you know, but, you know, expensive ones or decent ones that work all the time when it's warmer.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, you need to know that beforehand also. So
no kidding. All right. So that comes up to our defensive video of the week. And wanted to kind of do a little primer on this particular video about, you've heard us talk before about pre-assault indicators, and we don't really know what is said in this video because there's no sound, but there's some pretty good tips that we're going to try and point out, and you know, the difference between multiple attackers and a single attacker. So you know, we're going to pull this up and take a look at it here for you. I'm going to try and get rid of this here. All right, we're going to get rid of our mugs here and see if we can get this done. What we're looking at is folks walking out of a dance hall, and we got this on the Calgary News website. So this may be from Canada, but the thing is, here's everybody coming out of the dance hall, and car goes by. Everything seems pretty normal. This fella in the white shirt walks up. See how his hands are up. There he goes. And now we got a buddy chiming in. And look at this. We have bystanders. One girl laughing. This is not a laughing matter. This kid is in pretty good danger. I don't know what he's got in his hand right there, but doesn't look like a very good defensive tool. This two assailants take, you know, kind of whacks at him of marginal effectiveness, and then it looks like we go to the parking garage and they've got him down and kick him and stomp him and knock him out right there. So here comes this young lady to his aid, and these guys decide, hey, they're tough guys. We're 2-on-1. We're going to, you know, get out of Dodge. The good part about this is these tough guys are not so tough when faced with overwhelming odds in the police department showing up. I can imagine what's said here, but the police comes in force and take these guys into custody. The part that I want to go back to here is right here at the beginning of the video. We can see these folks, they're coming out this door here, and this kid's going to break here, and right here. Look at this fella's demeanor. Look at somebody calm and cool, just talking to you, whatever. His fists are not going to be raised in a fight position. He is saying something nasty to this guy in the green shirt, and we don't know what this girl's involvement is in the fight, but we know later on that she comes to the victim's aid here. But you can see this very clearly. His hands are up in an offensive manner, and he comes over and he gives him a shove, right? And he is literally poised to strike right there.
Yeah, this guy's wide open.
He has no idea that he's about to get punched in the face, literally.
Yeah.
So he takes no defensive measures whatsoever until after he gets struck by one of the assailants. Now we can see that's
the second guy.
The second assailant in the back. He sees what's going on over here, so he's going to come up and try and join in the fight here. And here we go. This dude is looking at what's going on. This kid in the green shirt gets struck pretty hard in the face. It wasn't a super effective punch, but effective enough to knock him back off his feet. And then the fight ensues. He gets struck a second time. The second assailant comes in. At this point in time, he's backpedaling. These three folks right here are not coming to this guy's aid. He is on his own. So some type of defensive maneuver, defensive tactics are needed right there. We talked last week about escalation of force tactics, and right here would have been perfect time for pepper gel or pepper spray to pretty much end this immediately. And he goes around a pole. He's still trying to back up. He's done his due diligence to try and get out of this fight, right? He's being kicked. he's being punched, and then we all know the result behind what happens with the end of the fight there. So as this guy is dancing around the parking lot with these assailants, he's got a couple opportunities here to deploy some non-lethal force options.
Yeah.
There is a point, it looks like, in the parking garage where this fella probably could have deployed a lethal force option.
Yeah.
Two assailants beating you that badly, that is a threat to life and limb. So that is, kind of for the judge and jury to decide. But
Sure.
the thing is, he had options. If he would have had something outside of a t-shirt and a shoe to defend himself with.
And a lot of that, is just situational awareness, knowing your surroundings and what this guy's actually looking like doing. The indicators were all there, and he never saw it, never had any idea, didn't recognize any of it. So, that's. I'm not gonna say it's his fault, because he got beat pretty bad, but that's something you need to be aware of all the time. So
yeah, and
if you see two guys coming at you, or even one guy coming at you, and he's got something fishy about the way he's walking, or he's got his hands up, or something like that, then that would be a pretty good indicator that he's going to try something. If he doesn't, that's okay too. You're still ready for it. But if he walks past, okay. So,
What was that?
if he could have had like pepper spray or something like that, at minimum, possibly stunned them enough to be able to, get far enough out of the situation that, could have been some de-escalation there.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously those guys, they knew what they were doing. The two guys that were beating this guy, and if he could have taken at least one of them out of the scene, beforehand, before it got really bad, he might have had a chance. So, at least to get away or de-escalate it.
Certainly. There was definitely options there that he could have taken. The thing about it is, we talk about this time and time again. Not every situation calls for deadly force, and then early on in this situation, it probably could have been handled with a non-deadly force option.
Right.
But the thing is, you have to have those options available, and you have to train with them just like you would with your handgun.
Exactly.
So, if that's a thing that you want, and there's a lot of people out there that, they can't take their handgun to work with them, or for whatever reason they can't carry it at work or anything like that, it's a viable option to have that non-lethal force.
Absolutely it is.
Option.
And there's a lot of people that are in that situation where they may, even if somebody takes them to court over it, you go back to the old saying, I'd rather buy a lawyer than a casket, so.
Right? Just applying to. I can't type today.
The situation that they were in right there, it was just bad right from the start. As soon as they came out the door, and one guy came up, and to not be aware of your surroundings, and this guy coming at you with his hands in an offensive position, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, the other thing that we don't know is what happened in the dance club.
Yeah, exactly.
So that situation probably started before the video that we get to see
right.
inside of the,
Yep.
security camera footage. It probably started inside of the dance club as an argument or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Any comments or suggestions? Leave them on the Facebook page. YouTube, hit us up down there. So that moves right on to different options, and not necessarily, defensive options or lethal force options or anything like that. But there's a lot of situations we find ourselves in that aren't a defensive situation. They're more of a emergency situation. I think we got a bunch of stuff for our
a lot of
products of the week, I guess, here.
And staying on the cold weather prep for, whether you're out and about, long term, I'm going to say overnight or someplace. The weather may be good when you hop in your car here, but you go 100 miles south or north even, it could be completely different. So you really need to have some kind of kit in your car. We got a lot of stuff here just to look at. We got gloves that you're probably going to want some gloves in there for everybody in the car. Small first aid kit, multi-tool. These are really great. You do a lot of stuff with it. Got a knife. I don't know why you need a corkscrew, but a screwdriver, little pair of shears, I think, on this one. There's just a bunch of stuff on this. Pliers. Never know when you might need a pair of pliers. This is a Leatherman juice. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Leatherman. Gerber makes a bunch of different ones, and there's several other companies that make them.
Stuff like this little first aid kit here, really invaluable. I don't know how many times we've been out and somebody gets a cut, a scrape, bruise, bee sting, whatever. Doesn't have to be super fancy. What's this got in it? First aid guide, a couple pieces of gauze, a butterfly closure, some fabric bandages, some knuckle bandages, some iodine prep pads, antiseptic towels, moleskin, and some mini strips. Essentially, this is a bee sting and Band-Aid kit. So, but the thing is, this is the type of stuff that you use most often, and it doesn't have to come in a fancy red bag. You can put it in a Ziploc bag and stuff it in a door pocket, for Pete's sake. But
and most of the stuff you can build out of the stuff that's in your medicine cabinet at home.
Oh, absolutely.
Throw it in a Ziploc bag and away you go.
Yeah, what's this? This $8 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So for $10 worth of stuff, it might actually save you a trip to the stat care people.
This thing right here, this Rescue Me, is basically, it's a seatbelt cutter. If you pull the clip out, it'll break you out of the window in a car. And it doesn't matter whether you're in a serious accident or just go in the ditch. Every time you hit a snowbank hard enough or a ditch, then it may not have hurt anybody, but you're going to have the airbags go off and stuff. And normally when the airbags go off, it locks the doors.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to get out somehow. And, battery might be dead, might not be, but, never know.
I've been in multiple places. And
Seatbelts up too, so you can't unbuckle them. So you're going to have to, you have to cut yourself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way to unbuckle your seatbelt once the pretensioner goes off and the airbag goes off. So you have to cut this.
Yeah, you have to cut the seatbelt.
But there's been multiple situations where I've happened across an accident. Most of them up in the metropolitan areas, normally at work and stuff like that. But you happen across an accident where there's a car upside down in a ditch or something like that. You got to break the windows to get into the car. The person may or may not be conscious.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to use this for yourself. You might be using it to get somebody else out of a car that's upside down in a ditch in the wintertime. Yep. So you're going to have to be able to get that person out. And you don't, really want to stick a knife in there.
No.
that could result in a cut or something like that. So these are awesome tools to have just in your glove box.
And you're still going to want to have blankets, in case you do get stranded on the side of the road in a major snowstorm or ice storm, or even go in the ditch and nobody can see your car. That's happened before too. Paper, so if you have to leave your car, or it gets too cold and you need to put a sign on the window or something, and a marker, have some paper. Go and a lot of people carry a cell phone. You might, even if your battery is down a little bit, you might want a charger for your phone. If you got an extra charger, and throw it in a box. We got a box like this. This is actually a big ammo crate. Mine's got just a tub from Dollar General in the back of it. My car does, and with all this stuff in it. And but these are nice. They got a waterproof lid, in case you need to worry about that. Need some kind of a box to keep it all in, so that you can find it when you need it. And that's the big thing. If it's strewn all over in the back of your car, it's not going to do you any good if you can't find the stuff you need. So put it all in the one box, and then you'll have it. And
those are waterproof too. So
yeah, they're waterproof. Better to be prepared for it. Everybody's going to go in the ditch sooner or later, or have an accident sooner or later, or something. And that's just the way it is driving. And it doesn't matter whether you're driving country roads or in the middle of Akron or Cleveland, every day. But there may come a time when you need something on that box, and you better to have it. And there again, most of the stuff that's in my box, we just have in our house. And so nothing spectacular about anything in there. It's just random stuff that we have in the household anyway. You just put it in a box and throw it in your car and leave it there all winter. And some of it all summer. So
yeah, I'm guilty of this. Buckets full of stuff in the back of my pickup truck. I got clothes and shoes and hats and gloves, and be 95 degrees out in July, and I got winter hats and gloves in my truck.
Yeah, right. And the other thing is, if you're worried about going somewhere where there's a lot of snow, and you think, it might be a possibility to go in the ditch, buy one of them little fold up military shovels and throw in there. You put it in a box this big, and away you go. And there's a lot of stuff you can put in there, whistles, and flashlight is a good one to have in there too. A good flashlight.
Absolutely.
And batteries. So just you can set it up however you want to do it. It's just depending on what your needs are.
Yep.
So better to be safe than sorry.
Well, that's kind of the thing. We spend a lot of time talking to people and teaching people about, that worst case eventuality if you had to use your firearm in self-defense. But what about just your, essentially, you could kind of say is your self-defense in your everyday life,
Right.
Just those things that, knowing how to use that folding shovel to dig myself out of the ditch, or being able to stay alive, till people can come get me if there's a car accident, or even helping people out in a car accident, so that maybe you can get them off the side of the highway so they don't get hit, stuff like that. All that stuff kind of steers it along that same line of that self-preservation. The whole reason why you carry a gun is the self-preservation thing.
Right.
All of this stuff, just adding into that, and it's a good idea to carry all this stuff. And like you said, in that box is what, 18 inches by 12 inches.
Yeah, something like that.
A little box full of stuff can keep you safe for a long time. I remember, in college when, my car broke down on 271 on what turned out being the coldest day of the year, and we spent 4 hours on the side of the highway in 0-degree weather because it was too cold for tow trucks. They kept having issues. So just having little things like that,
right.
You get hypothermia in just a few hours, but we had a car full of stuff that we were able to, stay warm and get off the road.
Yeah. And a little bit of water and some granola bars or something like that, or bags of chips or something put in there, in case you need them, if you're going to be there a while, and you never know. So, but there's a lot of stuff you can pick and choose and put in there and, make it your own as far as that goes, bug out bag, so to speak, and then go from there.
Certainly.
But,
all right, let's get on to our news here. I'm going to get rid of our mugs here for a minute. All right, so the Akron police continue to combat gun violence as murders reach 33 in 2019. They posted this January 23rd, 2020. We got this from the Beacon Journal, AkronBeaconJournal.com. Once again, the criminal few make it bad for everybody else. These folks even put together a Google Maps murder tracker. So if you want to hit this link up and, I don't know, it comes right to my mind that I'm going to avoid wherever these clusters of
right.
murders have been occurring.
Exactly.
So they got a little thing here. Blue is 2019, green is 2018, and yellow is 2020. So it looks like we got 2 in 2020 already. The thing is, this is kind of a skewed article in my opinion, but Akron police investigated 33 murders in 2019. 28 of the victims killed by gunfire, according to statistics released by police. 16 of the cases remain unsolved. In 2018, there were 32 murders. 30 of those victims were shot. 11 are still unsolved. You can see by the numbers that guns are used in most of our murders. Captain Chris Brewer said, murder and homicide statistics are now separated by Akron police. So what I would like to know is, does this include the homicides or only the murders? Is this cherry-picked evidence or is it actual evidence? And maybe I'll be able to find the answer to that. Maybe I won't. I would bet I won't, but we'll see. 5 homicides in 2019 were not tracked as murders. Brewer said statistics from the past few years have been adjusted so trends are consistent. Akron police have solved 17 of the 33 murders in 2019 for a 52% solve rate. He said these investigations are lengthy and can take 6 months to a year or longer, so the rate increases over time. So hopefully the rate does get better. The department has 66% murder solve rate for 2018, which increased with an arrest a few weeks ago. 68% for 2017. He said the department's 2018 solve rate is above the national average. FBI reports average solve rate is 62.3%, which I think with today's modern technology is pretty abysmal.
Yeah.
Brewer said the department doesn't compare solve rates to the national average. This is one of those cases where being good isn't good enough, Brewer said. It's a good thing for us, but it doesn't mean we're doing the best we can on everything, so we're always trying to work better. From August to December, the department saw a 26% increase in weapons recovered, Brewer said. Over that time, he said there was a 10% reduction in calls for shots fired. There was also a 20% decrease in felonious assaults with a firearm, a statistic that includes murders. If we can prevent one murder because we got a gun off the street, we can consider it a win, Brewer said. While the department saw increases from August onward, records show firearms recovered were down 7% last year compared to 2018. Firearms-related incidents also increased 7% in 2019, despite being down the second half of the year. Detectives aren't seeing any new trends driving violent crime, Brewer said, but there are new tools helping get cases solved. One area making strides in DNA testing. We're getting results off things we've never been able to get before. Bruce said one example is being able to identify suspects with DNA from shell casings, something that was much harder to do before. Better technology has also led to better and more surveillance footage, Brewer said. He said camera quality has gone up and costs have gone down, so more people have bought them. So, once again, if we look at this map, it looks like a few places on this map pretty much overtake the rest of these areas where it doesn't seem like there's much going on as far as murders. But I'm sure we'll continue to fight this trend as time goes on.
Yep. Yeah, we will.
Absolutely.
It depends how much the city government wants to put into it. Whether they want to back bail reduction crap and all that stuff, and put people back on the street who should have been in jail in the first place.
Yeah, right. Next up is Cleveland19.com. This masked gunman strikes again, robs a Willoughby Dollar General at gunpoint. Authorities suspect a masked gunman who robbed a Dollar General on Tuesday night is responsible for at least 3 other East Side stick-ups. This guy's going to want to watch himself because eventually he's going to run into somebody who's not going to put up with it, and they're going to shoot back.
Yeah.
According to the Willoughby police, a man stormed into a Euclid Avenue discount store at 8:40 p.m., stuck a gun in the teller's face, and demanded cash from the register. He was wearing gray sweatpants, a black or dark-colored hooded jacket, and black and white tennis shoes with red laces. No one was injured. Police suspect the man also robbed a Marathon in Perry, a BP in Parkman, and a Dollar General in Chardon. Anyone with information is urged to contact Cleveland Police, 440-953-4210. So, and keep an eye out for a masked gunman in a dark-colored hooded jacket with white tennis shoes. Not a whole heck of a lot to go on there, but
no, not much.
A drug deal and robbery gone awry lands Alliance roommates behind bars. This seems to be a constant, and I would imagine that this national drug problem has got something to do with Akron's murder clusters.
Yeah.
Roommates from Alliance allegedly arranged to buy marijuana, but tried to drive away without paying for it as the seller clung to the car late Monday night, according to Stark County Jail records. The suspected drug dealer fell off the car door, and a short time later, one of the roommates called the police to falsely report she'd been robbed at her home. I didn't realize falling off a car was a occupational hazard for dealing drugs. I would have thought getting run over was, but not falling off the car. The roommates identified a 23-year-old woman and 21-year-old man who live in the 900 block of South Webb Avenue, were arrested at 10:30 at their home. The Canton Repository doesn't typically name misdemeanor crime suspects, but police believe they had arranged to buy 1/8 of an ounce of marijuana for $45 from a third person, with the deal to go down near a local car wash. A woman drove to the location, and when the man grabbed the marijuana, they went to drive away without paying for it. Roommates were each arrested and booked into jail on a misdemeanor charge of soliciting drug sales and obstructing official business. They were released on their own recognizance. And now, see, here's the issue. They tried to buy drugs, which marijuana is still illegal in Ohio without your medical card or whatever.
And federally.
But then on top of that, they decided to try and rob the guy of his illegal marijuana and then lie about it to the police. And they were released on their own recognizance.
Yeah.
I think this is part of our issue with places like Akron being investigating so many murders. I mean, they literally just let them go. They're drug abusers, thieves, and liars. It's not like they're going to come back.
Right, that's what I was just gonna say. I wouldn't place any bets on whether they're gonna show up to court.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I was the bail bondsman, I probably wouldn't have issued him bail, but
Oh, no way.
maybe
No.
ankle monitor on him or something like that.
Well,
New York State
passed that into law.
Yeah,
And they're already starting to have massive amounts of problems. The approval ratings in the law when they first proposed it was over 50%. Now it's down to like 30% or something because they're seeing all these people get out of jail and committing the exact same crime.
Well, yeah, there was one guy, he robbed a bank or something like that, robbed a convenience store. They let him out of jail 4 hours later. He did it again.
well, and
Yeah.
then there was another one that was arrested for felonious assault, and they let him out, and he raped and murdered a 92-year-old woman the next day.
Yeah, so, I mean, if we're not going to have punishments for being a criminal, then why do we have laws on the books for being criminals? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well-
It seems like a big waste of money.
Well, they want to make all us criminals for defending ourselves.
Well, that seems to be part of the problem these
Yeah.
days, but in any event. So this is a pretty good one. This is out of Clark County, Illinois. You know, if anybody's been watching the news at all or had any type of social media interaction, you can see that pretty much the entire country is fed up with politicians. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle they're going on. But here in Clark County, they decided they were going to do something about it. Citizens can be so frustrated with county board members, they wish someone would just place them under arrest. Well, that's exactly what citizens in Clark County, Illinois did. Illinois' #1 manufactured product is corruption. Yeah, that seems to be an accurate statement. More than 95% of the Illinois legislature is safe in gerrymandered districts. The incumbent governor has 3 current federal investigations of his administration, but the attorney general and state attorney's class can't find public vice anywhere. Residents that voted in the recent election said they are hoping officials have learned from the past mistakes of others. So what can a law-abiding citizen do? The answer is coming from regular guys in southern Illinois who decided to hold public officials accountable. They call themselves the Watchdogs. Kirk Allen and John Kraft, 2 military veterans, live in Edgar County, which just might be the most corrupt county in the country. For a couple of watchdogs, it's a target-rich environment. In an effort to take back their governments from self-serving politicians and bureaucrats, Kraft and Allen established a group called the Edgar County Watchdogs. Through a combination of public pressure, freedom of information filings, lawsuits, and media exposure, they have created a system that deeply threatens Illinois' corrupt, entrenched political establishment. They operate a blog called Illinois Leaks that exposes corruption at the state and local levels. The blog is so popular that it is trusted more than the local paper. That's pretty bad. Considering the fact that, according to Forbes, their home county's government has racked up over $79 million in debt, all on its own while serving only 18,000 residents, Kraft and Allen have their work cut out for them. By relentlessly pursuing justice for even the smallest infractions by bureaucrats and politicians, the Edgar County Watchdogs have driven 102 public officials to resign from their posts, including 33 officials in Edgar County alone. The pair busted the mayor of Redmond for attempting to hold office while living out of town. They represented themselves in court and beat Illinois Assistant Attorney General Emma Steimel in a lawsuit seeking access to state emails. Officials who have resigned due to the watchdog's efforts include a property tax assessor, Edgar County Board Chairman, an entire airport board and its manager, attorney for Kansas Township's Fire Department, Shiloh's Superintendent of Schools, Effingham's Health Department Administrator, among others. That's a bunch.
Yeah.
After they exposed corrupt, illegal, and self-serving spending habits by the Ford Iroquois County Health Department, the entire bureaucracy was dissolved. In some cases, federal agents have even stepped in to investigate and issue subpoenas to local officials after receiving tips from Kraft and Allen. Public boards are used to facing angry crowds, but most have never encountered what happened at one recent meeting at Central Illinois. Here's the good part. In what was one of their most epic displays of political crime fighting, which was captured on video, Allen and Kraft held the entire Clark County Park District Board under citizen's arrest on May 13, 2014 for violating the Illinois Open Meetings Act, a Class C misdemeanor. When asked if there would be public comment, one of the board members said, "I vote no," followed by 5 other board members. Board attorney Kate Yardis could be heard on video saying there would be no public comment that night, told the board members they were free to go even after Kraft's citizen's arrest announcement. She tried to cite statute to Kraft, but before she could finish, she said, "Just sit down, you're making yourself look like a fool." Deputies were dispatched to the scene, but instead Clark County Sheriff Jerry Parsley personally responded that night. Parsley said he knew it was a heated situation and felt it would be best if he handled it. He said that Kraft handled the citizen's arrest responsibly, and the board was definitely in violation of the Open Meetings Act by not allowing the public to speak. "It's not that there should have, they're mandated to," Parsley said. "The people need to have their voice. It's not a dictatorship, it's a democracy." Not quite a democracy, but in any event, close enough. The sheriff arrested 6 of the board members. The 7th board member was not arrested because he voted against the other members. As they were escorted out of the building, the crowd cheered. The board had previously laughed at the watchdog group, calling them troublemakers. However, the sheriff and state attorney's office didn't see it that way. Kraft said every citizen in every state, county, and city should take note. Make sure their local government officials are working for the people and not themselves. Lawsuit against the board is still pending. Their next board meeting is scheduled for late November. After they get out of jail, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty extreme measure when you're tired of your politicians, but
Whatever works.
I mean, they absolutely had right, and the sheriff backed them up on it, and so did the state attorney, so
Yep.
kudos for them guys.
Yeah, it sounds like them guys, I mean, they did their due diligence, they followed, they followed what they thought was right, and looked into the laws, and, and I am glad to see that, the sheriff and the state attorney, they sided with, with the citizens, the people that they're there to, serve, and, that's something that, that's great, and they did it all through, just like civil service and holding these people accountable for the law.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's just awesome.
right. These guys didn't make the laws; they're just trying to enforce them.
Yeah.
You guys made the law.
I've been trying to tell a lot of people who will listen that their local township, county, and state government has far more effect on their lives than the federal government
Absolutely, it
can
does.
ever affect.
Yeah.
I mean, the federal government can raise or lower your federal income tax, but when it comes to local taxes, sewer laws, zoning laws, ordinances in your township, dog licensing fees, license plate costs, insurance costs, I mean,
Yeah.
the list goes on and on and on.
Right.
Unfortunately, here in Minerva, we've had some issues in the past with some people, but, for the most part, it seems like we're doing okay here. We don't have this kind of trouble running around.
Yeah, and tell you guys the honest truth, I've never been to a Knox Township meeting, but I don't know if there's anyone on that board that would actually go that far.
Yeah, right.
They're all part timers anyway. I don't even know if they get paid for it. So, but
One big things that we can spread to people is they need to know, we've kind of pounded on this and brought a bunch of articles up and stuff like that is, your average everyday citizen is part of what I would say being American is know the laws, know your rights, and vote.
and vote.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
vote. Exercise your right.
If you do those things, then, you're doing everything that you can to try and, keep this country, the United States, as it was. So,
Yeah. If you don't vote, then you have no right to bitch. So,
This is true.
and that's the way it is. And, you know, you can scream and yell all you want, but you really have no voice because you didn't vote. And that's the way voting works. You know, a lot of people think that their vote doesn't matter, but it really does, you know, especially on the state and local level.
Absolutely. We got one more thing that's concerning here. I'm sorry, Nate, do you have something to say?
Oh, I was just saying that in a lot of people, you know, you hear a lot of people, they just go to, you know, they go and do their, you know, they're voting every 4 years on a presidential election, but you need to pay attention because a lot of times when it comes to, especially being the fact that, you know, you have so many, you know, local officials and county officials and state officials and all that stuff that are all voted into office, a lot of times there's an election that you should go vote at almost every year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that, you know, just, you know, people need to pay attention to that. There's something going on, you know, almost every year.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of these governments, you know, all around the country, state and local, who have forgotten that they represent all of their constituents if they get elected. That's what the purpose of the election is for, not just parts of them. So you represent all of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So the next thing we got here that's concerning, you know, if you're into the Second Amendment scene whatsoever, you know that there's a mess going on in Virginia. There's a massive fight between the two sides over this. And we're not going to read this whole article because it's a pretty long one. But essentially what's going on is the General Assembly in Virginia has they're trying to get rid of reciprocity, and the easiest way to understand or explain reciprocity is, you know, who takes my license and does our state take their license? Well, if you're a resident of not the state of Virginia and you travel there, they got this HB 569 that they're introducing to curtail the reciprocity agreements and reciprocity laws that were marked to the legislature. In 2015, they did an audit, and the Attorney General decided he was going to cancel a bunch of them. The lawmakers then went back to session. They cleaned that up. They had this HB 1163 and SB 610, which made Virginia a full recognition state. So, you know, there's a lot of mess going on in here. Essentially what they're trying to do is reverse this legislation so that they don't have to accept anybody else's handgun licenses, kind of like Illinois or New Jersey or New York or Massachusetts, Connecticut. And this has kind of been taken over. We got this article from the NRA-ILA.org. You know, they send us all kinds of email updates and stuff like that. So if you want to check this article out, obviously the link is in the video description. So go down and check that article out. It explains the whole thing. You know, that's kind of important in our end of the game is reciprocity. And, you know, we don't want to have to try and go around states or store them in trunks and different things like that. So, you know, if you're so inclined, maybe write a letter to the Virginia legislature from a non-Virginia citizen. Maybe they'll, you know, get this figured out for you.
Yeah,
I doubt that they're
all of this stuff going on in Virginia is going to end up in way higher courts. no doubt about it. But it's going to be a while before it gets there. So,
Yes.
so, and maybe, there may be some reprieve on that, like in California where the judge denied enacting that magazine ban because it's unconstitutional anyway.
Certainly.
So, but still a long fight ahead.
Yes.
2A rights.
Very long fight.
Especially with Bloomberg's money involved.
Yeah, that's been a constant problem.
Yeah.
All right. New products. We got SHOT Show going on. So now's the time of year we get blistered with all kinds of new stuff. So what do we got? Once again, link in the description, AmericanRifleman.org. Looks like we got a Kel-Tec P17, 22 long rifle, 17 round magazine. Looks like it'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully it's reliable. I like Kel-Tec products, but I am kind of down on them a little bit because they're so hard to get the fun stuff. PMR 30s have been around for years, and they're still hen's teeth and trying to get a hold of them. CMR 30s, which is a 30-round 22 Magnum rifle, you just can't seem to get a hold of them. I would imagine this P17 is going to be exactly the same way. Kel-Tec, take notice if you're listening to the show. Increase the production capacity. We would love to sell more of your guns, but we got to be able to buy them from you first.
Right. Absolutely.
The Mossberg MC2C. A while back, Mossberg released the MC1 SC.
Yeah, about a year ago.
It was a subcompact. It's a pretty cool gun. Took Glock mags. The MC2 is not going to take Glock magazines. It's proprietary magazines, but it's a compact and not a subcompact. So looking forward to getting one of them, trying it out. We've talked about the Ruger 57 before. It is a 5.7 millimeter by 28 handgun. Pretty cool round. I'd like to get my hands on one of these and check it out and do a full review on it, but we'll see if we can get that done or not. Shield Easy 9. We did a video a while back on our first look on those. We've actually sold several through the store. Shot one. It's, to say the least, pretty awesome. I can't find any flaws in it that are readily apparent to me. Not much more recoil than a 382.
Right. I think we'll be doing a review on that one pretty quick.
Yep. Springfield Armory XDM Elite. So a lot of you guys out there know I'm a Springfield shooter, and this thing just looks like a monster. So it's got a bunch of different cool features in it. Let's wait and see what articles that they, or what options they come out on this thing. I'm not a huge fan of adjustable sights back here, but maybe they'll make a 4.5 or 5 inch barrel model fixed sights, kind of like a combat handgun type thing. The other thing that we got here is CCI 22 Quiet Semi-Auto. Now, CCI is saying this will cycle the semi-auto firearm. And we're going to be trying this stuff out here shortly because I want to know if it cycles our 22 long rifle pistol.
Yeah.
So we're going to try some of this stuff out. And, you know, CCI makes great stuff. It's a 45 grain, 835 feet per second round. Makes it subsonic. And
Yeah.
yeah, it says right in here, most target loads simply don't generate enough pressure to reliably cycle at 22 blowback actions. Once again, this article, gunsandammo.com, go check it out. It's in the description. They show a rifle here, but we're going to try it out in a pistol and see how it's going to work out for us. I guess you guys can probably look for a review of that stuff here very shortly. Probably going to run that in a Smith & Wesson M&P 22 to try it out and see how it works. Hopefully the price is right and it's not really expensive at the moment.
Yeah, that would be the big drawback.
Yeah. I know a lot of the bulk stuff has gotten pretty cheap. So,
See how it works.
yeah, we'll see how that stuff works and go from there.
Yeah, that's probably the best gun to try it out in is the M&P 22 because that's one of the most reliable 22 semi-automatic pistols we have.
Yep.
And, it just beats the pants off everything else. So.
All right. So, thanks everybody for joining tonight. Thanks everybody in the comments on the Facebook page. Like we always say, comments, suggestions, something you want to see on the show. Let us know if you have shooting events that you know of in the area, especially for nonprofit clubs and school groups that need some advertising. Let us know. If you want to, we can get you on the show. That's not a problem. Drop us a line, sponsccw@gmail.com. Give us a call, 740-422-9482. We will try and accommodate as best we can. Obviously, links are in the description if you want to sign up for class or check out any of the articles. Everybody, thanks for joining us tonight, and enjoy your weekend. Stay safe.
Stay ready.
Yep. Fun, guys.